Imagine waking up tomorrow and the America you knew, gone. Not by invasion, not by war, but by a vote. The land of opportunity, the country where a college dropout could build a $1 billion company in a garage, has decided that ambition is selfish, that profit is greed, that the government knows better than what you deserve. Your paycheck? Shared. Your business? Regulated into dust. Your dreams? Subject to approval. This is not a warning from the past. This is a thought experiment about your future. What if the United States of America became a socialist country? Stay with me, because what I'm about to walk you through might be the most important 10 minutes you spend today. Before we begin, if you're new here and you enjoy content that makes you think, consider subscribing to the channel. We break down big ideas, real consequences, and the kind of questions most people are afraid to ask. Hit that button and let's get started. Let's set the scene. The year is not far from now. A sweeping new administration has come to power on a platform of radical equality. The messaging was seductive. No one left behind. Fair shares for all. The wealthy will finally pay their part. It sounds reasonable, even noble at first. But here's what the posters and the rallies never told you. The moment a government decides that equal outcomes matter more than equal opportunity, something fundamental breaks. And I felt it the first time I looked at my paycheck. I had spent years building a small business. Late nights, missed weekends, real risk. And under the new system, my marginal tax rate, the rate on every additional dollar I earned above a certain threshold, climbed to 70%, then 80%. The message from Washington was clear. You've made enough. Stop. So I ask you, why would anyone keep pushing? Why would anyone take the risk of starting something new, hiring someone, building something bigger, if the government was waiting at the finish line to take the majority of what you built? This is the first and most devastating effect of a socialist America. High taxes don't just take money, they take motivation. Entrepreneurship doesn't die loudly, it dies quietly. People stop filing the paperwork, stop pitching to investors, stop dreaming quite so big, and slowly, the engine that made America the most innovative economy in human history begins to sputter. Now, let's talk about something that sounds fair, but isn't. The idea that everyone should receive the same, regardless of what they contribute. In a socialist America, wages are no longer determined by the value you create. They're determined by the state. The surgeon and the person who didn't finish their degree, same bracket. The engineer who works 60 hours a week, and the person who clocks out at 4:59 on the dot. Same paycheck. The system calls this justice. I call it something else entirely. When effort and reward are severed, effort disappears. I watched it happen in the thought experiment playing out in my mind. Talented people stop pushing. Why stay late when it doesn't matter? Why go the extra mile when the mile is already pre-measured by a government committee? Productivity didn't collapse overnight. It eroded, slowly, like rust. And here's what they never tell you about equal outcomes. They're never actually equal. Someone still has to decide who gets what, how much, and when. And that someone is the government. Which brings me to the next domino. In a socialist America, resource allocation, who gets the factory, the farmland, the hospital equipment, the housing, is decided not by the market, not by innovation, not by consumer demand, but by bureaucrats sitting in rooms you'll never see, making decisions you'll never fully understand. Think about what that means in practice. A tech startup wants to build a new product, but the materials they need? Allocated elsewhere by the state. A hospital in a rural county needs updated equipment, but the Central Planning Committee decided a city hospital had more political priority. A farmer wants to grow a crop that's actually in demand, But the quota system says otherwise. This is not hypothetical. This is the documented history of every centrally planned economy that has ever existed. The Soviet Union couldn't feed its own people, despite having some of the most fertile land on Earth. Venezuela, once the wealthiest nation in South America, saw its oil-rich economy collapse into food shortages and hyperinflation under socialist management. Central planning doesn't fail because of bad luck. It fails because no committee is smarter than a free market, and in America, a country of 335 million people, with the most complex and dynamic economy ever assembled, the idea that Washington could efficiently manage resource allocation isn't just naive, it's dangerous. Here's a question. Where does innovation come from? It comes from someone believing that if they solve a problem, they'll be rewarded for it. That's it. That's the whole engine. The iPhone existed because someone believed they could build it and profit from it. Life-saving drugs exist because pharmaceutical companies believed the reward justified the billion-dollar risk of research and development. Strip away the reward, and you strip away the risk. Strip away the risk, and innovation stops. In a socialist America, I imagine Silicon Valley quieting down. Not all at once, but the bold bets stop getting made. The garage startups never launch. The biotech firms stop funding the long-shot research. Why gamble everything on an idea when the upside has been capped by law and the downside is still very much your problem? Government innovation exists, but it moves at the speed of committees, approvals, and political wins. The urgency that private competition creates? Gone. The ruthless efficiency that comes from knowing your competitor is one breakthrough away from eating your lunch. Gone. What replaces it is bureaucracy, caution, and stagnation dressed up as stability. And now, the most heartbreaking part of this thought experiment. They leave. The best ones always leave first. The doctors, the engineers, the entrepreneurs, the researchers, the people with the most options are always the first to exercise them. It happened in Britain during their post-war socialist experiment. It happened across Eastern Europe. And in a socialist America, I believe it would happen here too. Because talent is mobile. Capital is mobile. And when a country tells its brightest minds that their success is a problem to be taxed away, regulated away, redistributed away, those minds find somewhere else to shine. Imagine American universities continuing to produce world-class graduates, only to watch them relocate to Canada, Singapore, the U.A.E., or wherever freedom and reward still walk, hand in hand. Imagine the compounding effect of that loss over a decade, 2 decades. The ideas that never got built, the companies that never got founded on American soil, the cures that were discovered somewhere else. A country is only as strong as the people who choose to build within it. Socialism doesn't just lose the tax revenue when the talented leave. It loses the future. So here we are, at the end of this thought experiment, and I want to be honest with you. I'm not here to tell you that every inequality in America is fine. I'm not here to say the current system is perfect. It isn't. Real people struggle. Real gaps exist. Those conversations matter. But there is a profound difference between fixing a system and replacing freedom with control, between helping those who fall behind and punishing those who run ahead, between a safety net and a cage. The American story, messy, unequal, imperfect as it is, has been the greatest engine of human prosperity, invention, and individual freedom the world has ever seen. Not because the government built it, but because the government largely got out of the way and let you build it. So I'll leave you with the question that's been sitting underneath everything I've said today. Would you trade your freedom for the promise of security? Would you give up the right to earn what you build, own what you create, and dream without a ceiling for a system that guarantees everyone the same floor? Think about it. Drop your answer in the comments below. I genuinely want to know where you stand. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And I'll see you in the next one.